Hello everyone, and happy post-Thanksgiving. I hope that you all got your fill of turkey and pumpkin pie this weekend, and more importantly, that you got your fill of love. I had a lovely weekend, the perfect kind, actually. A really good blend of getting things done in the yard and in the home, walking the dog along the beautiful river paths that are just alive right now with fall colors. And of course, time with my family, eating way too much good food. And yesterday, I had the honor of officiating at the celebration of two lives, Ron and Betty Ann Perkins, both of whom died in the last 2 years after long lives of love. So it was such an honor to gather with their family yesterday to share in those beautiful memories. So I'm beginning this week quite full of gratitude, and I hope you are as well. And I had a great start to the day. Each morning I read a reflection that's sent to my email from Richard Rohr at the Center for Contemplation and Action. So in case you don't know about Richard Rohr, which you should, he is a Franciscan Friar, a wisdom teacher and founder of the Center for Contemplation and Action, and has been inspiring me and many others for years with daily reflections. And if you're interested in receiving a bit of wisdom each day, just go to the Center for Contemplation and Action website and sign up. I promise you won't be sorry you did. Anyway, for those of you who've been following the worship series Deborah and I have been doing for the past 5 weeks, and this coming Sunday will be the last of that series, you'll know that it's been quite focused on creation spirituality. So this series has inspired me to revisit contemplative practices as a way of grounding myself in God and remembering my connection to others and to all of creation. And honestly, this makes such a significant difference in what is happening for me internally. Worry, fear, anxiety is transformed from this rumbling force, usually right here, to this sort of wee hum, hardly even noticeable. So I was delighted that Richard Rohr's theme for this week's reflections is contemplating creation. And today I thought I would just share with you his words, and may they inspire and challenge you as much as they inspire and challenge me. He begins with this bit of scripture from Psalm 148. Fruit trees and all cedars, beasts and all cattle, creeping things and winged fowl, let them praise the name of the Lord, for God's name alone is exalted. God's glory is above heaven and earth. And Richard writes, creation spirituality has its origins in Hebrew scripture, such as Psalms 104 and 148. It's a spirituality that is rooted, first of all, in nature, in experience, and in the world as it is. This rich Hebrew spirituality formed the mind and heart of Jesus of Nazareth. Maybe we don't feel the impact of that until we realize how many people think religion has to do with ideas and concepts and formulas from books. That's how we were trained for years. We went away, not into a world of nature and silence and primal relationships, but into a world of books. Well, that's not biblical spirituality. And that's not where religion begins. It begins in observing what is. Paul says, ever since the creation of the world, the invisible essence of God and his everlasting power have been clearly seen by the mind's understanding of created things. And that's from Romans 1:20. We know God through the things that God has made. The first foundation of any true religious seeing is, quite simply, learning how to see and love what is. Contemplation is meeting reality in its most simple and direct form, unjudged, unexplained, and uncontrolled. If we don't know how to love what's right in front of us, then we don't know how to see what is. So we must start with a stone. We move from the stone to the plant world and learn how to appreciate growing things and see God in them. In all of the natural world, we see the vestigia Dei, which means the fingerprints or footprints of God. Perhaps once we can see God in plants and animals, we might learn to see God in our neighbors. And then we might learn to love the world. And then, when all of that loving has taken place, when all of that seeing has happened, when such people come to me and tell me they love Jesus, I'll believe it. They're capable of loving Jesus. The soul is prepared. The soul is freed. And it's learned how to see and how to receive and how to move in and how to move out from itself. Such individuals might well understand how to love God. Preparing our souls, freeing our souls to understand love. God's love for us, our love for God, and our love for each other and all of creation. Isn't this a practice worth committing to? I think it is. I know when I am connected to all the beauty and loving goodness that is all around me, I am changed. My mind is calmer, more focused. Any judgment, anger, resentment in my heart is overwhelmed by feelings of compassion and love. And I can feel it in my body, just a little less tension. I feel more open. So I invite you this week to try a contemplative practice. And a contemplative practice is any practice that brings you fully present, mind, body, and soul, to what you are doing. Sitting in silence is one contemplative practice, but it's not one that works for me. I've got a very busy mind, and in order to help it be still, I need to focus on something. It doesn't matter what the focus is on, as long as it allows me to be present. So it can be music or scripture, a prayer, an object. I'm also a very tactile person, so I like to hold something, like a stone or a leaf, or it could be any random object around the home. And then you just contemplate it. Simple. And you can do this practice for a couple of minutes several times a day, or you could do it for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning. It can be done whenever and for however long you want. When I do it, I like to set an alarm for 10 minutes so I'm not thinking about how much time I have left. Now you may notice that after a few minutes, you start to get a little uncomfortable, maybe even anxious, and that's okay. If this is a new practice to you, it will feel a bit uncomfortable, but just take a breath and refocus on whatever is happening in that moment. And try not to judge yourself for being distracted. It happens to everyone. Sometimes it feels like I am breathing and refocusing at least 100 times in a 10-minute period. But I always feel a greater sense of connection and grounding when I'm finished. And once I have that connection, I feel like I'm in a much better state of mind, body, soul to move into the day. So I hope that you have a truly blessed week, that your connection to God and to yourself, to all of creation, will so fill you with what you need to be in this week, truly as one of God's beloved.